Welcome to West Coast Wednesdays. I'm Mark Hirzel. I'm the district manager at Deringer here in Los Angeles, California. And we thought we'd put together a few videos for you in the coming weeks to kind of show you what's going on the West Coast and help make sure that you're aware of everything that's happening out here where the sun is always shining. One of the first things we want to talk about is the ILWU has a new dispatch hall. The previous dispatch hall had been in use for over 50 years and basically was a archaic anti-technology facility that is now been upgraded at a price of over $36 million on some property that the Port of Los Angeles has let them use for that purpose. The new hall has over 2,000 parking spaces, big screen TVs or display areas to be able to show the workers where to queue up to be able to get their jobs. Many of you may not know, but for the regular longshore workers, the Class A, they know where they're going to go beforehand. But there are casuals or Class B workers that don't necessarily know where they're going to be assigned to work for the day. And so as many as 800 people will line up every day for 500 to 600 casual jobs, and then from that point, when they're dispatched, go out to the terminals to actually work the ships and the gates to help keep your cargo moving. The other important thing that's going on the West Coast right now is the ILWU and the PMA have actually started contract talks in an early renegotiation of their past contract agreement. On the East Coast we have the ILA and the USMX. Their contract is set to expire September 30, 2018, and they had a few months ago announced that they were going to start talking to try and come to some early renegotiation of the contract so there's no disruption on the East Coast. The West Coast, as we all know, a few years ago, had a bit of a congestion problem, and the disruption caused a loss of cargo to the area. Currently, the ILWU and PMA contract is set to expire on July 1, 2019. So 5-6 months later after the ILA contract. What's going to happen is if the ILA and the USMX get to an agreement, then the ILWU and the PMA are really going to be forced to come to an early agreement so that your cargo continues to flow smoothly through the ports without interruption. There's been some recent activity in that about 47 different associations have actually written a letter that are encouraging the ILA and the ILWU and the PMA to come to this early agreement. And there's a lot of positive momentum on this, and we're hoping to be able to report back in the future that they've come to an agreement and that you can expect your cargo to be moving smoothly through the ports. One other thing I want to mention, we had a typhoon, the Typhoon Nadia, that hit last week in Hong Kong and the Guangdong area. That did cause some delays, so we're seeing a bit of a delay in some cargo that's shipping now that peak season is fully underway. Also in the ports of LA Long Beach, we're starting to see a shortage of chassis and congestion in the ports as the volumes start to increase. We're not at the levels that we were in the past, but with each incremental increase, the congestion gets a little bit tighter and things get a little bit hairier. The other thing that I think it's important that you be aware of is Wickham TOA, the group that manages Pier Pass, announced they were going to have a $5 chassis fee for managing the chassis that are not owned by shippers. This chassis fee is going to be billed to the MTOs or to the motor carriers on a monthly basis. unlike Peer Pass, there is no way for you or I to actually pay this charge ourselves. So likely what we're to see is the motor carriers, as they get invoiced for this chassis management fee, will likely pass that on to us. Now the fee is announced at $5. There will likely be some administrative fees added on to that. Don't really know where that's going to end up exactly, but around $5 to $7 I think is a safe harbor for you to expect your drayage fees to increase in September, if they increase. And I say if because one of the questions right now before the Federal Maritime Commission is whether or not this fee in fact can be passed on. The FMC and Commissioner Cordero has started an investigation looking at this, so we're not yet sure where this is going to roll out, but it could happen. Put it on the radar. If it does happen, it'll be September. Again, Mark Hirzel signing off. We'll see you next week. Have a great Wednesday.